Welcome to this training session on forming tools folding brakes. Today's aircraft technician relies on a wide variety of powered and hand-operated tools to precisely bend and fold sheet metal to achieve the perfect shape. Forming tools include straight-line machines, such as the bar folder and press brake, as well as rotary machines, such as the slip roll former. Additionally, tools and equipment, both powered and manual, such as the piccolo former, shrinking and stretching tools, form blocks, and specialized hammers and mallets are used. Tempered sheet stock is used in forming operations whenever possible in typical repairs. Forming that is performed in the tempered condition, usually at room temperature, is known as cold forming. Cold-formed sheet metal experiences a phenomenon known as springback, which causes the worked piece to spring back slightly when the deforming force is removed. If the material shows signs of cracking during cold forming over small radii, the material should be formed in the annealed condition. Annealing, the process of toughening steel by gradually heating and cooling it, removes the temper from metal, making it softer and easier to form. Before a sheet metal part is formed, a flat pattern is made to show how much material is required in the bend areas, at what point the sheet must be inserted into the forming tool, or where bend lines are located. The bar folder is designed for use in making bends or folds along edges of sheets. This machine is best suited for folding small hems, flanges, seams, and edges to be wired. Before using the bar folder, several adjustments must be made for thickness of material. Use screws at each end of the folder, width of fold, sharpness of fold, and angle of fold. There are two positive stops on the folder, one for 45 degrees folds or bends and the other for 90 degrees folds or bends. A collar is provided that can be adjusted to any degree of bend within the capacity of the machine. Once adjustments have been made, it is always wise to take a piece of scrap of the same thickness and make bends at each end of the folder. The Cornice Break is similar to a bar folder because it is also used for turning or bending the edges of sheet metal. The Cornice Break is more useful than the bar folder because its design allows the sheet metal to be folded or formed to pass through the jaws from front to rear without obstruction. In making ordinary bends with the Cornice Break, the sheet is placed on the bed with the sight line, mark indicating line of bend, directly under the edge of the clamping bar. The clamping bar is then brought down to hold the sheet firmly in place. The stop at the right side of the brake is set for the proper angle or amount of bend and the bending leaf is raised until it strikes the stop. Standard capacities of this machine are from 12 to 22 gauge sheet metal, and bending lengths are from 3 to 12 feet. The bending capacity of the brake is determined by the bending edge thickness of the various bending leaf bars. Most metals have a tendency to return to their normal shape, a characteristic known as springback. If the Cornice Break is set for a 90 degrees bend, the metal bend probably forms an angle of about 87 degrees to 88 degrees. This means the machine should be set at 93 degrees to achieve a 90 degrees bend. The box and pan brake, often called the finger brake because it is equipped with a series of steel fingers of varying widths, lacks the solid upper jaw of the Cornice Break. It can do the same thing as a Cornice Break and more. It is the quickest and best way to form a box, pan or similar shape. The brakes discussed are limited regarding the thickness of material they can be used on and cannot be used for more complex parts. The press brake is the most common machine tool used to bend sheet metal and applies force via mechanical and/or hydraulic components to shape the sheet metal between the punch and die. A press brake can be used narrow U-channels, head channel stringers using certain dies. Power press brakes can be set up with backstops, some are computer-controlled, for high-volume production. Press brake operations are usually done manually and require skill and knowledge of safe use. Other training sessions will cover other special tools for use in roll forming, stretch forming and spin forming. This concludes this training session. We hope you found it useful.